Hey, we are live 3 minutes after the hour. Not too bad. We got the O'Keefe team here. Does everyone want to say? How about you guys all introduce yourself for anyone that's watching?
I'm Carsey.
Okay.
I do marketing and client satisfaction and photography for O'Keefe Built.
I'm Chad. I'm a project manager for O'Keefe Built, doing some sales as well. So I've been here about going on 5 years.
I'm Pat O'Keefe. I'm the owner.
I'm Derek. I'm the operations manager.
Okay, cool. All right. I always like to ask what you guys did over the weekend before we kick things off. Tell me a good story. I want to hear a good story before we get into the thick of things and start the podcast. Anyone got a good story?
I went to a children's birthday party, and we were all dressed up, and there was a tarot card reader there.
Oh.
And she told me I had a sky blue aura, and that has stuck with me. And she said it was shimmery, and I was like, great.
Take that to the bank.
I feel like you need theme music now every time you walk in a room.
That's how I feel too. I'm working on it.
Awesome. Anything else? I don't even remember what I did this weekend now I remember. I went to a beer fest. There's lots of beer here in San Diego.
That's why you don't remember.
Yeah.
I was going to joke that I cleaned my guns in preparation for something, but I had my kids, so I didn't do much.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's get to it. All right. Welcome back to the We Love Deck Builders podcast. I'm your host, April Edwards, and today we have something truly special. We're joined by the leadership team of O'Keefe Built, an inspiring group that have taken deck building to a whole new level. O'Keefe Built has not only built a reputation for quality and attention to detail, but has also created a family atmosphere with their company that sets them apart. O'Keefe Built isn't just about top-notch craftsmanship and quality. They've created a family atmosphere with their team that really sets them apart. And it's not just their dedication to great work that stands out. It's their commitment to giving back. Projects like these show how they're making a difference beyond decks, impacting their community in a very meaningful way. So let's get to it. O'Keefe Built. So we've got 4 folks here, the leadership team. So for any of our podcast listeners, I know you just did an intro for all of the live feed, but let's do it again. Let's do it again for all the podcast listeners here. So Pat, why don't you start off?
I'm Pat O'Keefe. I guess I'm the owner / founder of O'Keefe Built. Been doing this as O'Keefe Built probably 10 years plus, and stoked to have these guys with me.
I'm Chad Goodmanson, project manager here at O'Keefe Built. Neighbor to Patrick O'Keefe here in Old Town Longmont as well. So we've been friends for a number of years, and came aboard a number of years ago to help grow the business.
I'm Derek. I'm the operations manager. Been here about 3 years and moved here expecting to stay in the solar industry, and met and connected with Pat and felt like the right fit. So happy to be here.
Yep. And I'm Carsey Lawson, and I've been here for a little over 2 years, and I do marketing and accounting, and I'm the client satisfaction manager, and I also do the photography.
That's a lot of ands. I was waiting. I was wondering if it was going to keep going.
I tried to pare it down just for the sake of
time. Carsey.
She's also the company baker. She bakes us baked goods and brings them in every single Monday for our Monday meetings.
Yeah, shout out to my husband. He also contributes to that. But yes, I like to be also known as the CEO of fun. I feel like that's really where I shine in this business.
So let me ask you this. Is he like quality assurance, or is he actually helping to bake?
Oh no, he's the full on. He's a chef.
Nice. So you're quality assurance.
Yes, that's probably more accurate. Yeah.
That's like completely Ted Lasso style. You know what I'm talking about? I love it. It's the little things that count. And honestly, that's such a good segue for for this podcast because I mean, let me just kick it off by saying this. I mean, what a simple thing. I got a greeting card from you guys so O'Keefe Build, they're a client of ours at Deck Builder Marketers. I got a Christmas card from them last year. And first of all, they were all super cute. They had ugly sweaters on. It was the cutest thing. But Carsey, I'm assuming, went out of her way to put a handwritten note on it. And I mean, honestly, like I've just got like goosebumps because it's such a simple thing to do that makes such an impact. And I'm just, we're your marketing agency. We're not even a client, so I can't imagine how you treat your clients, which we'll dive into today. But also, when I shared the Christmas card with the team, because my team's virtual, Cassandra, who used to work with you guys, she now works with my other company, A Design Co. She said what I always told Pat, that he really built a family, not a team. And that's kind of a lot of the motivation with wanting to have you guys on today is to, really share your journey and how you've built such an incredible company and how you're doing more than just building decks. And I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Pat, you should be really proud. All of you guys should be proud. It takes a team, right? It takes a whole community to make this stuff happen. But let's start off by why don't you tell me how O'Keefe first got started and what inspired you to focus on creating custom outdoor spaces?
Okay. So the company started basically from a handyman company. I lost my job, my real job, in the downturn back in 08, 09. And for those of you that were around back then, finding and keeping a job was not an easy task. And so I had to pivot, and I started a handyman company, and I quickly sort of found that I was, sort of more suited for the growing the business side versus the actual executing the task side. One of my in my previous life, I was a personnel director for an adventure travel company, and so it's my job to hire spunky 20-somethings to lead kids around the world, and I think that sort of definitely laid some groundwork for having an eye for hiring and for connecting with people, and I think that's very much at the root of sort of how it's been to build the team. Definitely have taken sort of a slow approach. I like to say it's sort of like this steady march forward and not a stumble forward, right? So we take kind of calculated steps and risks, and it evolved. At some point, I started doing projects that were big enough, and my CPA actually said that I needed to switch from an LLC to an S Corp, and we needed to do that mid-season, and that meant changing the branding. So I went from the Old Town Handyman to O'Keefe Built. Right about the same time, I was getting a general contractor's license, and so got the brand going. Started doing bigger and bigger projects. Definitely understood the value of pictures and marketing and a website, and it's just sort of grown from there.
And so you said that, by the way, things shifted for me in 08 too. That's a big reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
and running a business as well. But so when officially did O'Keefe Built start? When did that transition happen?
It's always a tricky 2010, I guess, right? Well, No, 2016.
Yeah,
Okay,
2016.
10 years.
We were official.
Yeah.
We were official. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
It's a little blurry, but yeah, 2009 and up to about 2016, I think the branding switched somewhere in 2016.
Okay. Awesome. I wanted to say well, actually, two things. I was just talking to Lainey Slepland before this, and I said that you guys were going to be on the podcast, and she's like, "Oh, I remember Pat." She's like, "He was so nice. Like, I really liked him, and make sure to tell him that I said hi."
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
sweet.
remember we've had lunch a couple of times here in Longmont.
Mhm. Yep. Oh, side note too, because I don't want to forget, and I want to promote the hell out of this. But I don't think you guys are going to Deck Expo, are you? You're not going this year. Okay,
We were in
well,
full force last year. We had the whole
Yeah.
team there last year, but not this year.
all right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys know what you're gonna miss out on. You ready to
Okay.
hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're having women in the industry panel, and there's going to be 6 women on stage, and I've got other women's. So I'm moderating. There's going to be other women in the audience, and Carsey, I think you should come. You guys should all come to Deck Expo because of that one session.
Done. I'll be there. When is it?
Sold. I got a free pass for you guys too.
Yeah.
It's in Dallas this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're actually doing a group trip to Dallas for Job Trend. Got an annual trip there.
Mhm.
Yeah. When is that?
January
18th, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're like sometime in January. It's the 17th through the 19th.
You can tell who keeps the who,
Yeah.
Flights booked, hotels booked, already done. Yeah.
Love it. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say is, Carsey, I think that can you just tell everybody how you started, how you learned about O'Keefe and became
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a funny story. So Derek and I have been friends for 20 years. We are both from Washington State. And my family and I moved here, I guess about 4 years ago now. And I called Derek and I was like, "You've got to see Colorado. It's amazing. It's beautiful." And within, I don't know, 8 months, he was here. And then he was looking through jobs and, found O'Keefe Built, and it felt like a really good fit for him. And I was happy for him. And then, 7-8 months later, I was like, I think I'm looking for a job. Like I was a stay-at-home mom and loved that, but just was ready to do something else with my time. And so then he was like, we could probably use your skills. Like we could use a photographer, and we need an accountant, and
Well, I
these
think we
sort
were
of
talking
things.
about permitting at
Oh,
first, which
gosh,
is
yeah,
the one
I
thing
was
that you don't do.
Right.
All the-
No, so I dodged a bullet with permitting. Thanks, Joe. But anyways, yeah. So then I came in for an interview, and it just was a great fit, and it's worked really well since then. Yeah, but it is kind of a funny story. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Okay, so your company is known for quality and attention to detail. How do you ensure that your craftsmanship remains consistent against all of your projects?
I'll speak to that a little bit. So we vet our crews, our sub crews that we choose to work with. It needs to be a really good fit for them and us, obviously, and then our clients as well. But we've worked with these same crews for years as well. So they know exactly what we're looking for. They know exactly how to execute.
One of those crews have been here longer than anybody else sitting at the table besides myself. So we've got some longevity out there as well.
Yeah.
And that communication is easy for us to kind of continue on with them. Our in-house designer has been in the industry for years as well. He's been a contractor, and so he can kind of easily translate all of these details into workable drawings and plans for all these crews and for our vendors as well. I mean, they can take these takeoffs, and we can be accurate and pass these on to our crews. So
one thing too, I think is important is we pay very well for very skilled craftsmen, and I've been pretty adamant about that for years, and have known some of the other companies out here in this market are paying half what we pay. we work mostly with 1099, so it's a piece rate deal. But we vet those guys, and then we pay them really well, and then we consistently provide them work, and so they can stay busy working all year round. We run somewhere between 3 and 5 crews, depending on the situation, and they're well paid, and they're very good craftsmen, and I sell their quality. And so I think the other thing that we do is we have sort of a saying around here that, float all boats. And I might be, sort of jumping ahead in the structure here, but really what that's meant to be is a dedication to making sure that everybody is uplifted, right? And that's down to the carpenter's helper. And when you treat people like that, they want to stick around and they want to do good work for you, right? They're motivated to be part of our family and to be part of the team. And so the other thing that we do that I guess isn't standard in the industry is when they've completed the work, they get paid. And that's, they can come to us on Friday and said, we did X, Y, and Z, and we'll cut them a check. They do not have to wait to get paid until we get paid. And if you've been in this industry or you understand what it's like to be a carpenter or in the construction world, fighting for a paycheck is a real thing. And we make sure that doesn't have to happen for our guys.
And we can't talk about craftsmanship without project management. So our carpenters are the ones actually building, but in terms of maintaining quality, that doesn't happen without some overseeing. Chad juggles, somewhere between 4 and 7 jobs at a time. Typically, he's visiting the job sites, making sure the quality bar is there. And while we do have a lot of crews that have been with us for years, if we're running with a new crew, we need more oversight. We need to make sure that they're actually maintaining the O'Keefe built standard, and that's our project manager doing that.
I love the props. So if anybody is just joining, I'm going to kind of give you my takeaways from what I just heard here. The first thing is, Pat, you're running a business with intention, with well thought out intention. No throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like, you're really thinking of every detail. And then I would say the underlying theme is people first, and the way that you treat your employees and making sure that they're not at your mercy is really, really important. And I talk to a lot of builders across the country, and a lot of people have a hard time retaining talent. And I think so if anyone's just joining, listen to the beginning of this podcast, because he just gave you the secret formula, in my opinion.
You can shorten it up to not being a dick.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that.
Right?
That's my parenting. I'm like, I just don't be an asshole. That's it. You don't have to be a doctor. These things, just don't be an asshole. All right. So with talking about the close-knit family-like culture, can you tell us some more about how you've created and maintained the atmosphere with your team? Like I sort of mentioned earlier, I think my experience as a personnel director sort of helped me. I like to say that I have a relatively high EQ, right? Emotional intelligence and understanding what motivates people, what makes people disinterested, and so sort of focusing on those things. One of the things that has helped is this space. Actually, we bought this. It's like a garage condo kind of a thing, right? 1,500 square foot warehouse, and the space. We built it out over the years, and you can't see, but over here are all the desks, and it's a very open format, and so it provides this very communal working area that is where a lot of jokes and non-work conversations, work conversations
take place. So, and I think that, I don't know, I've taken that seriously, and it makes for like a cool place to come to work. So that's, you got that? Our heater just kicked in, so
Oh, okay.
it makes, and it's supposed to heat the 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
And it does an okay job.
So yeah, that's a cool place to come to work, and cool people, and then making sure everybody feels heard. Respecting everybody's opinion. We all have our strengths, and we all have our weaknesses, and I don't lead this company like a dictator. I want to be one of the team members, and I want to collaborate, and I think that brings out the best in everybody here. We can challenge each other. We can disagree. We have a sort of an open forum for communication, and that makes us all better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that open communication we all have is certainly paramount. Pat came to me a number of years ago. I've been in the industry for a couple of decades as a subcontractor, as a builder, but Pat was a neighbor, and he headhunted me for almost 2 years, I think, before he and I actually came to a table at a bar and came to an agreement.
I poached him from his old job,
which was pretty impressive, actually.
I have a funny story about that because Chad and his wife got married in a park near in Old Town where we live, and he invited me and his boss at the time,
former boss,
his former boss got up and gave this like amazing speech. Chad's a deadhead. And it was a speech that had incorporated like a bunch of Dead songs as he was like complimenting them as a couple. And I leaned over to my wife and said, "I'm never going to get this guy now. Like he's got such a great relationship. He's like best friends with his boss. How am I supposed to poach that?" So, but it took some time. And
but to that, this is probably one of the most family-oriented atmospheres I've ever been employed at, and so that's speaks directly to Pat and his character and what he's trying to put out there into Longmont, Boulder County, into the world. We go rafting together, we go hunting together, we go bowling together. This is all of us, the group here, along with our subs. Their subs come along. They're all invited. They get invites to the holiday parties, to the house parties, barbecues in the summertime. So, yeah, just one of the easiest, most fluid atmospheres I've ever been a part of in a work environment.
And I'll say too that the reason why I actively pursued Chad is because I knew that I didn't know what sort of hard skills he had, but I knew his soft skills. I knew the type of person he was, and I wanted that type of person to help represent my company and my brand. And I, with Derek and Carsey, and Chuck and Seth and everybody else has sort of come based on some sort of job posting. And so I had to sort of weed through other people, but I, it's about those soft skills. And really that's what's sort of perpetuated us, and that sort of family atmosphere that you ask about.
Yeah. Amazing. Carsey, do you have anything to add?
I parrot everything they just said. I think this is such a great place to work. And I will speak for myself, but I walk in with a smile every day, and it's a really genuine smile to be here. And I think that the culture that we've created is one of a lot of trust and a lot of, we give each other the benefit of the doubt. And when we disagree, which happens, right? We really listen to try to understand. And I think that that's a really big reason why we all get along so well. I think at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. And there's a casualness in it. We know we're building decks, we're not saving lives. And I think that there's something to that of not taking it too seriously, and that the relationships at the end of the day are what matter. So I think we keep that in mind.
That's awesome. It looks like Advantage Lumber New York said, great builder. My coworker, Sean Miller, speaks very highly of them. Keep up the great work.
Oh, that's
Cool.
awesome.
Sounds great.
Okay, so each team member obviously brings unique skills to the table. So I'm wondering if Chad, Derek, and Carsey could share what you guys enjoy most about your roles and working at O'Keefe Built.
Yeah. So as operations manager, my favorite thing about my role is dipping my hands in every bucket. It's fun to have some variety, to work with every department. It keeps it fresh. We're a small enough team that we all wear a bunch of hats, which is a lot of fun. And there's not a lot of overlap in skills because we're such a small team. We all have to have unique skills. So on the construction side, it's going to be Chad, Pat, and Chuck that are the masterminds behind the construction side, and Carsey and I are a little more on the business side. And we have a pretty diverse team that makes us actually that much more efficient. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I really enjoy, speaking with the clients. I really enjoy watching their expressions when they come home and they see that final new product and that walkthrough with us. Carsey says we're building decks, not saving lives, but we've been told we're changing lives with some of our spaces. These bigger custom outdoor patio covers with outdoor kitchens. One of our clients emailed or called Pat, I think, and said directly, Pat, you have no idea how our project has changed our lives here at our house. They've just expanded out to the outdoors, kind of created 1,200 square foot home into almost, a 2,000 square foot home with some outdoor living spaces. And so, I agree. We're not saving lives, but we are changing lives. And that's kind of a neat thing to do. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. How about you, Carsey?
Chad, I just want to say, Chad is so great with people that he's literally he's the perfect person for doing this and sales. Thanks. Absolutely. I enjoy so much about my roles. One of the things I do is I'm the client satisfaction manager, which we're lucky enough to have. A lot of business don't have the bandwidth to take that on, but I get to go and talk to the clients before, during, and after their projects and just gauge their satisfaction, make sure that they're happy and we're meeting their expectations. And that's one of my favorite things to do is after the job is wrapped up and go chat with them and get their feedback on their experience with our team and then pass those kudos along. I love being able to do that to our team. Obviously, I really like photographing the projects. That's where I get to use some of my creativity, and I always love presenting to everybody. Look what we made. Look how amazing it is.
This is one of her professional photos right behind them up here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And that's fun. Let's see what else. There's things of accounting I like. It doesn't fire me up, but it's, when you want a nice hot cup of tea and to just get into it, that's kind of nice. So yeah, there's things I like about all my roles. Kind of like Derek said, I really like the variety. I don't get bored and there's plenty to do. So
yeah,
we're always busy. Yeah.
So by the way, before we hopped on, the team here said, if for anybody that's watching the video, if you look at the back wall there, it's a big grid of reviews. So they framed their reviews. Yeah, it's so cool. And it's just how encouraging and motivating for everybody to be able to see those hanging on the wall and just to show how much you appreciate your clients doing that. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
So I do want to dig into client relationships a little bit more. I mean, you guys have shared so much, kind of peeling back the curtains a little bit, but apart from anything that you've already said, how do you make your clients feel confident and involved in their projects from start to finish?
Man, communication, I think sort of
Communication.
yeah.
It's all about
it sort of rises to the top or floats to the top of everything. And another one of our sort of secret sauce things is we have what we call the O'Keefe Built Promise, or the once a week promise, which is a communication promise to our clients that they will get some sort of communication from us at minimum once a week. And that may sound like not enough when you're in the middle of the project, and that might be true, but that came from situations where we would be maybe in permitting for months, and the clients wouldn't hear, they wouldn't hear from us because there was nothing to tell them. And what we started to understand is that the lack of communication was problematic. They've already given us giant chunks of money. And so that was, I think, the start of understanding how powerful and the role of communication is. And so we use we talked about it a little bit before. We use a project management software called JobTread. I'm sure most of the guys on here know it.
Shout out to JobTread.
Yeah. I started using BuilderTrend probably 13 years ago or something. It's been a very long time. And when I had one client, and I knew that I needed some sort of tool to help me stay organized, and we've pivoted. I guess it's been a couple of years now to JobTread for a bunch of reasons, but it's an awesome platform, and staying in touch with our clients through JobTread, daily logs. We can put up pictures. The clients can have access to that. Communication is key.
I think it probably starts at the first phone call and at the sales process, because we know the market that we're in, everybody has multiple bids. And so having a good first impression by someone who's presentable, knowledgeable, we're fortunate that Pat often is the face at the ground level with people. So he's very good at building trust with them. There's a lot of distrust in the construction industry. People feel like they're getting taken advantage of, or they don't always understand the process. So that's one way that we build trust, is just from the get-go of meeting them on site, just being trustworthy.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, my sales style is one of not super pushy sales type. And obviously we've grown and we've taken on other salespeople, and I try to look for people like that when we're growing our sales team. But I think it starts there. Mutual respect, some sort of connection, a casual relationship. And it's not to say that we don't have our issues, right? Like we could all roll our eyes at clients that we've had in the past. So it's not a perfect world, but another thing I think that speaks to that is integrity, right? People want to know that you're going to do the right thing, and we've often been sort of backed into a corner where we've had to pony up a bunch of cash because we did something wrong. And another thing I like to say is, and I know this is YouTube, so I can cuss, right?
We should have asked that first, honestly.
Right. Well, another thing that I like to say is O'Keefe Built pays for our fuck ups, right? When we make a mistake, we pay for it, and that's usually what it boils down to. Is it's when it comes down to it, usually about money, right? We have to fix something, it costs you out of pocket, it takes away from your profits or whatever. And
but that's O'Keefe built, having integrity, standing in that integrity, and again, paying for that, not asking for a change order for the client or marking something else up to kind of cover that cost. We will pay for that and learn from that. So.
That's helped sort of perpetuate the reputation. It's something that's shared amongst all of us. I think it's when these guys have seen me take a $10,000 hit because it's the right thing to do and we could have squirmed away from it, it builds trust among us. It builds trust among our clients. It helps with the reviews. So did I get off? I think I got off topic somewhere.
Right.
There's one part with another job tread plug. So we know when we're juggling as many jobs as we are, we've got 40 jobs right now, and they're all at various stages. Job tread is wonderful because we know that if we have a conversation with somebody and we're not in front of a computer, that can get lost very easily. So we use job tread to log what's going on, and when we have 50 other things pop up, we can revisit that job, remind ourselves where we left off, and then that's helping us keep our words to our customer. We know that, as Pat said, communication is our top priority, and we're not communicating the right way if we're telling them we're going to do something and we don't do it. So that's always a work in progress. But we're getting
that software, project management software that we use, really ensures that the client is involved from the beginning to the end, like you asked. And they can follow along with everything. They can interject questions or concerns at any given point, as we can as well. And so it's very efficient software that we're able to instill and bring the clients into right from the beginning.
Just real quick to circle back to one of the things that we do is we break our projects up into pre-production and production. And I talked about the once a week promise. In pre-production, that's sort of Derek's world. Production is Chad's world, and so there's that communication is intentional by each of them during their part, right? During the part of the project or the project when it's in either production or pre-production.
Yeah, amazing. So I think one thing to really know is it's great to have software, but a lot of people just don't use it, and you guys are using the tool for not just like yourself, but for the client. So it's adding to probably a lot, I have to imagine, staying within budget or, estimating properly and communicating with the client and obviously keeping you guys on track. Off topic, but we might as well go there. I mean, what's the biggest difference with Job Tread compared to, Builder Tread, Trend, or any other software you've used?
We are nerding out about
Good
this right
question.
now. There's a lot.
So the thing that drew me to it was on the estimating side, because that's my main role, right? It has what I think is a really cool feature, which allows us to give our clients options or selections, and it tallies it up right there. So they click a box. We can give them, the option for several different kinds or different brands of decking, and if they tick one, it tallies it at the bottom. And I think that's a really cool tool to make that process a little bit more efficient. That was the thing that drew me to it, I think.
Yeah, so estimating, and it's very just transparent for the customer. We break it out line item by line item, and like Pat said, for decking, we can show 3 prices side by side. They can interact with it themselves, so it simplifies things. Where I really like it is for when we're paying our subs, for instance, then it'll show how much we have in the budget. We get a bill, can cleanly match it up and tell real time, are we over budget? And that can be a very time-consuming process by not having it that easy. So the accounting and the back-end side is just as valuable. We're still learning so much about it 2 years in, and everything we learn about it, it's becoming more and more helpful.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, and
Eric's awesome too. I've met Eric before.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was gonna say we couldn't have known this when we signed up with them, but Derek and I went to Job Tread Connect last year and we met the team, and they are such awesome, genuine people. Like we're so happy to be supporting a business like theirs.
We're expecting a check from them for all this publicity.
This needs to be a co-branded podcast episode.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the jobs, and I'm really interested to learn more about how your work has evolved over the years, especially with new materials and technologies, and just in general how you incorporate innovation into your deck designs while, maintaining your signature craftsmanship.
Yeah. How it's changed. I mean, I started out as a handyman, like we discussed, and the projects. At some point, I wanted to do something aside from just make money, right? I wanted to. I don't want to call it art, but I wanted to feel good about what I was producing, and I did a lot of handyman stuff, and then fences, and being in people's yards gave me access to do more decks. I think that Nadra has been a pretty big player in that, right? Like being part of there's a national community. You know it better than I do, April, out there. There's a lot of guys doing a lot of cool stuff, and I found Nadra by accident, actually, through our supply house. A buddy of Sean Miller's worked there. Funny enough that should come up. But Sean Miller used to be the heavily involved with Nadra, and I think still is. But basically said, if you're going to build decks, you need to be a part of this thing. At the time, it was like, whatever, $300 for a thing, and I was just like, I guess I'll bite the bullet. But I think being in that larger community has definitely played a role in that. In terms of technologies and different products, I mean, early on, I don't, you've certainly dealt with the different brands, but the brands are always keen to get you to sell their products. So I've done several of the universities, right? Trex University or AZECU, and that's always a great way to stay current. The different reps obviously are coming by and
Doing PKs.
Yeah, doing PKs, product knowledge meetings, and pitching what they have. Yeah, and I think Chuck, our designer, he certainly contributes to that, right? I might go out and meet with a client and sell a project, but making it into a rendering and adding his touch, I think certainly helps that.
Yeah, so we're a dealer for Apollo, which is a louvered pergola system. NatureCast sells outdoor kitchen cabinetry. Inlight, or Bold, they changed their name, the outdoor lighting company. We always like to have our ear to the ground on what's out there, and always entertaining meetings to learn about people in the industry. It's good for building relationships. And actually, I just looked at myself and I saw I've got the TimberTech co-branded hat. Mm-hmm. TimberTech's a great partner. They built us a wall around the corner that has all their offerings. We've got some great partners in the industry.
Yeah. Awesome. So it is a great industry. And I tell you, Pat, you and I have a lot in common in terms of how we, the rationale behind starting our businesses. I'll chat with you about that later, but super cool. So you guys, I actually wrote an article on this, and then I think we got it featured in the Nadra industry update. You guys did some pro bono work for Colorado Therapeutic Writing Center. And it was a very powerful example of community impact. And that's why I was really excited to, write something about it. How has giving back shaped your brand and your visibility locally?
Oh gosh. How has it shaped our brand? I mean, I think it sort of speaks to our core values and floating all boats. It doesn't just stop within the company, but we want to extend that out to the community as well. And it's kind of an easy decision when you understand that you're doing something really good for the community, but it's also helping your brand in the long run. And we've now done two of those type of projects over the past, I don't know, 3 years or something. And we have a commitment. And actually, April, your team knows this because we're building out a sort of a community page on our website to sort of try to perpetuate those efforts. But it's just, we feel like it's other people who are philanthropically inclined. Those people have money, and those people have houses with decks on them. And I don't know exactly how it's affected our sales necessarily, but it really feels good to us, and we know that it's something that we want to continue to do.
I mean, it sounds like it definitely reinforces your brand values, which is really important.
Yeah. And here's a funny story, another sort of anecdotal story about philanthropic efforts. But we had a client over in Old Town that we built a fence for a couple of years ago, and it was a very expensive fence, and it was a very involved fence. And the owner made a pivot, sort of, I think, kind of halfway through, and we already had the materials on the ground. And that pivot basically meant a bunch of work and a bunch of lost materials. And so we finished up that project, moved on, and we didn't make any money. But basically, we either broke even or we lost money on the project. And maybe a year or two later, it's my neighborhood, or it's Chad and ours neighborhood, Old Town, and one of his neighbors across the street asked me to come over and bid a fence, and they were like, "We want that fence over there." And I was like, "That fence, is a very expensive fence. I just want to warn you up front." And I didn't make any money on that fence. Well, fast forward, a year later, a few months later, that client called us up, and this is the craziest shit you ever heard, because never do you have a client chase you down and want to give you more money. Mm-hmm. And he said, "I heard through the grapevine that you didn't profit on this project, and that makes me feel horrible." He's a really good dude, obviously.
Yeah.
And a cool family. And I said to him, he said, "Can I get, what? Tell me what the number is, and I'll write you a check." And I said, "You know what? I'd prefer it if we could collaborate on a philanthropic project in the future, and because we need to make those kind of connections, right? We need to find people who are interested in who have money, who can participate in those things." And he was like, "On board. That is a fantastic idea. Absolutely. Just tell me." So we have somebody already teed up for our next philanthropic project. Of course, we don't know what that is yet.
I mean, there's no shortage of them. One that I think we kind of forget about sometimes is the Build Strong. So there's this awesome organization in Denver where they're teaching students of all ages how to build a deck. So we went on a Saturday to kind of teach them how to build a deck from the ground up, and can't do any of these things without partnerships. We've got Cedar Supply, who's been awesome and donating. We built raised garden beds, working with a project in North Glen. Got Budget Home Supply, funded a lot of the CTRC
materials.
Yeah, we've got Timber Tech, again, was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that with community involvement, we're giving them the opportunity to give back too. So the more we do this, it's a snowball effect.
Well, and also what I'm hearing is that creates a really good culture too. I mean, this gives you guys something to do together that's, out for something bigger. And yeah, again, just really reinforces your values, and I think that's beautiful. And from a marketing perspective, there's a lot of benefit to it. So for anyone listening, there's the article that I wrote. Just go to deckbuildermarketers.com/blog, and you'll find it. You could just search for O'Keefe. The URL is pretty long up here, but it goes over how doing things like that will also make an impact with your online presence too, to get you more traffic in the door. So speaking of which, you've grown a strong business over the years. I'm interested to know, how has marketing played a role in your growth, and what advice would you give to other deck builders looking to attract more clients?
Invest in your business, right? It costs money, and you find so many people who aren't willing to. They don't understand that you have to spend some money to make money. And when it's been an evolution to get to a relationship with a professional company like yours, and it's also been an evolution of the services that we've taken advantage of, right? In that, we started small and maybe whatever, a couple $100 a month or something like that. The more that you invest, the more that you get out of it. So I think, not just in marketing, but in business in general, investing in yourself, right? Investing in your ideas, and then getting professionals, investing in those relationships with professionals to do it, because it's just, before you guys, we had another company, like Carsey was saying, they focus mainly on landscape companies. But they're a professional marketing company, and they helped us get up a level, and then we started working with you guys, and it just it's amazing. And if you don't do it, you get all these guys that are super proud about their word of mouth, right? Oh, I'm all word of mouth. I'm all word of mouth, but they're one man shows, right? Because they can't. The word of word of mouth is always going to get you so far. And if you just have one crew, or you're the builder yourself, that's great. You stay busy, you have work on the books perpetually. But if you want to grow to a multi-million-dollar business, and you want to continue to grow, you have to be reaching a lot of people. And word of mouth just isn't. It's awesome. I'm not disparaging word of mouth by any means, but marketing your business and having a professional do it is key.
And I think the takeaway is invest. I mean, I think so many people look at it as an expense, and if it's not working, yeah, but if it's working, it's a very solid investment.
Absolutely. And you have to have a more macro vision of your budget, right? Because if you're only seeing that money going out the door right now, and you're not really seeing, at the end of the year, we profited whatever, X percent after we spent X amount of thousands of dollars on marketing, right? So when you have that sort of macro perspective of your numbers, you can see very clearly where, we've been able to grow, reach a lot more people. We have a lot more expenses, but we're still profitable.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly want to partner up with a reputable marketer like DB Deck Builders. It's like you said, we've had a couple of them in the past, but we're kind of learning and stepping up, and so we think we found a really great partner here. And so, thanks for all you guys do there.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. So invest in your business, invest in your people, right? You do that too. Be intentional and have values. We've learned so much already. So what do you think's next for O'Keefe Built? Are there any exciting projects or plans in the works that you'd like to share?
We are expanding. So we just opened up an office in South
Parker.
Denver, Parker,
Yeah.
Colorado. And so that's super new and very exciting for us. I would say that's probably just a couple months in the works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to grow, and I think we've got a decent market share in our immediate market. But for those who aren't familiar with the Denver market, it's huge, and South Denver is like an hour and a half from here. So opening an office down there, giving us the brick and mortar to get traction in our SEO and the efforts that you guys are doing, and that's a huge market for the decking industry, and we want to grow. We want to do twice as much, if not more, revenue than what we're doing now.
We're really excited about we're calling this office our showroom too, because it's turning into that. Year over year, you won't recognize it. Everything that this is Pat's desk, got this kind of patio cover, got an outdoor kitchen around the corner. We sit people down at this table, can pull up job tread, kind of show them pictures of our past work. It's an effective selling tool, so we're excited to keep making progress on this to bring customers in more.
Very cool. And all of your I can't say the word either. Community.
Yeah, I was going to say we want to continue to, that we have a goal of doing one project a year, one pro bono project a year, and we. It was funny. When was that? A couple of years ago, we had a Christmas tree, and we named it the philanthropic tree.
Yeah.
With this idea of being able to sort of spread that part of the business out, and do that more. So we got a commitment to that.
That can I just elaborate
Sure.
on that?
Yeah.
The philanthropy was really cute. So that year we had done okay, and so he was able to give us some bonuses, which was really nice. And a portion of that, he the thing he had said was, I want you to be able to know what it feels like to give back. So you don't have to, but if you want to, you can give part of this. You can give part of this, and that was just the whole thing, was the opportunity to give, and that was from Pat, and that was really sweet.
That's cool. Yep. Awesome. Well, do you guys have any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are working to grow their businesses?
Invest in yourself, and don't get so focused. I think one of the one of the things that has sort of led me has been not to be ultra focused on my own bottom line, lining my own pockets, and I think that's sort of served me well, because I'm not looking to go out and buy a boat or Porsche. I'm not trying to take that money and do other things with it, but taking it and reinvesting it into the business. Of course, paying everybody a fair, livable wage. This is what it creates. It creates people who are super interested to be part of the team. It creates opportunities, and it's a broader understanding, not this sort of narrow, money kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's the phrase? You get what you give, something like that. So awesome. Well, what a great episode. I mean, seriously, you just provided so many juicy nuggets for how to run a successful business and how to build something more than, just for yourself, and doing it together. I just think it's awesome. I really appreciate you guys being on. So it's super clear that success comes from a combination of innovation, craftsmanship, and smart business strategies. If you're a deck builder looking to scale your business, be sure to take notes from this episode. And remember, marketing your skills is just as important as delivering great results. Thanks for tuning in to We Love Deck Builders. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And until next time, keep moving forward.
Thanks, April.
Yeah.